Hello and welcome to the Bodysurf podcast with your budgie boys Tim and Owey, and we are back for 2024. How you doing, Owey?
Yeah, Timmy, it's been a long time. I can't say it's been a bad time. It's been good to have some time off.
I mean, I was reminiscing the other day. Do you remember when we used to do the podcast once a week?
Yeah.
We used to do it in my old bachelor pad in Sutherland. It was an old dusty shack in the back of the national park. You'd come over, we'd have dinner at Boyle's pub. We would sometimes have a guest, sometimes it would just be us, and we would do it every week. And consistency is key because when you get out of a routine, it's so easy just to give up on life. And that's what we've done. We've given up on this podcast so badly.
Yeah.
And we've just started to enjoy the other things that life has to offer. I mean, I don't think I've even seen you since you've had a kid.
No, you have. Once.
I haven't seen the kid.
No, you haven't seen the kid at all. And I don't post the kid's face on social media for
I was
good
wondering
reason.
about that. And sometimes you do. I've caught you out a few times where you've forgotten to cover it up. And you're probably like,
No. Well, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't want to blast the kid's face on every. People fall in love with their kids. We get it. But like, you don't. No one else cares. No one else cares about your kid.
Is that the reason? I thought you were hiding their their privacy.
No. Well, for me, I don't really care. I think April probably worries a little bit more about that, but she's coming around. She's like, I want to post his face.
The funny thing about most babies is they all look the same. You could just post a picture of any kid and no one would know. They're probably starting to develop some facial features now that they're getting older. But yeah, my mate had a kid and they didn't want to name the kid until it was born because they wanted to see what sort of name fit the baby. It's a fucking baby, mate. You give it any name, it's going to fit. And they went with a very generic name that would have worked on any kid.
We had two names that we were working titles. And he came out and I just went, I'm going to need a couple more hours. And like, he didn't have a name for a couple of days.
How does it work? Because do nurses come in and you got to fill out paperwork, or do you take care of all that stuff later?
My mate Tom didn't name the kid for 5 days, and they were like, "You've got to get out of here, but you can't leave until the kid's got a name." You do have an official time in which the child needs to be named. So we actually just scraped in. He wasn't officially named for, I think it was about 2 months.
What?
Yeah, so you need to file paperwork.
Yeah.
And in that time, you can really call the kid whatever you want. So we had a name after 2 days. He came out and we go, he's got a bit of an old man's face. He's got an old man's vibe. So Albert. Right, Bertie, an old name. It's a family name.
I've not heard of an Albert for a while.
No, and he really suits his name.
Do you call him Bert?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because some people would name them Albie, but we're not really. No, he's a Bert. You know, he's a Bert. But yeah, no, he's officially named now, which is good. So for people out there that are having kids, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you don't think about. You don't think that you have to do all this admin, but it's straight away.
I thought it just all happened at the hospital. Like, I've got my birth certificate. It's got my mum and my dad and their occupations and then my name. And I just thought it says Liverpool Hospital. I just thought it all happened there. But I guess, it's like a government thing that you've got to do all this paperwork and stuff.
Yeah, it's
a big responsibility.
It's a really big responsibility. And I sit back and I go, how do dysfunctional people have kids?
I mean, they are having kids. You see a lot of them out there having kids, and they have a lot of them.
Yeah, they do.
But they've got to name everyone. They've got to go do the paperwork.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of dysfunctional people are familiar with the system. They know how it works. They've got a mate down at the office doing stuff for them.
But I don't think it's as lucrative as it once was. You know, like the baby bonus and that kind of stuff. It's just like kids just cost money these days.
We know a friend who had a few kids for the baby bonus back in the day, a mutual friend, and did not pay off for him. I mean, he got a TV, a new flat screen at the time, but is it worth raising three rat bags?
No. Definitely not.
Well, this is for Albert. This is a little
is it?
plaque I made for him. I made this for you the day he was born.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I haven't seen you since, so you can hang that on the wall.
And here's the problem. Tim always makes these lovely gifts. And for like, oh, I'm getting a call. This is not a call-in show. Tim always makes these lovely gifts. And for birthdays, Christmases, Hanukkahs, everything.
Kwanzas.
And I never get Tim gifts. Well, he thinks that I don't give him gifts. I do give him gifts, but I don't bring them.
You got me one of the best birthday gifts, and it's under there, a VHS of my favourite Simpsons episodes, which I still don't know how you did, because you got it for all of your good mates. You got them a VHS of their favourite Simpsons episode, but it's like the official Simpsons VHS when you couldn't buy box sets. You couldn't buy a whole season. You'd have to only buy like themed episodes where they would put like maybe 4 or 5 episodes on one tape. And this has the monorail episode written by Conan O'Brien. That's the best present ever. And I still watch it on VHS probably once a month. So you do. You were very crafty at thrift shops and things like that.
I've got. There's gifts that I got you from Japan. I went to Japan over a year ago.
Yeah.
I still haven't given them to Tim. But next time he comes up, I'm sure I'll provide you with a little gift.
I'm looking forward to that.
This is wonderful, Tim. Is this an IKEA special?
Yeah, it is. And we haven't spoken about the new range of hand planes made by IKEA.
What is that?
Known for their amazing cheap furniture, but now they're in the hand. I don't think this is meant to be ridden. In the promo photo, there is a man, I think the person who designed it, in the water just waving with it. He's not on a wave. I think it is made to put up on the wall like I've done over here, but also maybe to use as like a cheese board or something like that, because I don't think you're catching many waves with that thing.
I'll give it a crack.
I do have a few spares somewhere, so yeah, if you want to have a ride on one. But oh my goodness, yeah, it's been a while since we caught up. I mean, you did a show a little while ago with Corey Sainsbury, and you sent it through to me, and I said, do I need to proof check this? Do I need to watch this to make sure there's nothing controversial on this? And you go, no, it's all good. I uploaded it. I had a phone call from someone important in the body surfing community straight away because you guys were ragging on someone. But I think the body surf community is sick of all the politics, Owey.
Do you reckon?
Yes. Every time we catch up, every time we go away on a body surf camp, every time we have a meet, people are talking about all the politics, all these competitions, all the silly stuff. And I think we need to bring body surfing back to its core, back to its roots, which is getting wet and having fun. And I mean, I retired from team competitions a while ago, and I had to come back, unfortunately, and it was not enjoyable. But I mean, I have gone in a few individual comps since, and that's been fun. But geez, yeah, it's a bit crazy out there. And I think we're coming into competition time. We've got, what is it? We've got the one Coolum, and then we'll have the one here in Avalon, and then we'll have Womp Off, or the ABC. How are you feeling about all these competitions that are coming up? Are you going to be involved?
Yeah. I'm not making my way up to Coolum. It's just a proximity thing, Timmy. You know, when you're, as we spoke about having Albert before, it's hard for me to just get down here. You just live a short drive down the F3. And I can't even get here that often, and you're only an hour away. Yeah. So me getting to Coolum, it's just it's a non-event at the moment. As for the Festival of Froth is coming up, more doable. I tried to get in last year, a last minute job. I could only do the Saturday.
They were looking for someone last minute as well. I think someone pulled out, and they had a spot available. There was a bit of controversy as well, and I mean, I just had a rant about being too political, but this was interesting. You could only compete on one of the 2 days. So the first day was the official, what's it called, the IBSA stuff. So that was day one, the Saturday, and then Sunday was just like the Festival of Froth comp, sort of more casual, more chill, more informal. But you could only do one or the other. I think a few people did both.
Yeah, well, now they're sort of encouraging people.
I think you should be able to do both. I mean, the second day definitely didn't have as many participants and didn't have as much of a crowd as the first day. So if you want to keep it going over the whole weekend, I think, it needs to be maybe open.
Yeah. I listen, I feel as if the Australian scene is it's going through a bit of a teething process. It's sorry to use many baby-related crossovers here, but it is. It's we're trying to establish in a way a sort of circuit where we have the ABC, we have Coolum, and dots of other competitions. You've got the Newcastle Bodysurfers.
You've got Slide Fest
as well. You've got lots of different things. There's not a lot of cohesion with the whole thing. I've always said that I would love to see sort of a national tour in a way where it's
Well, Coolum and Festival and Froth have that relationship, and I think that's what they really wanted to strive for, and they've achieved that. And it's quite interesting if you do both comps, you're getting a few points, and you'll probably qualify to go to Hawaii. I only did one comp, and I mean, I think I'm 43rd in the world, or 48th in the world, and most of my waves weren't scored because I was dropping in on cunts. So you can sneak your way into a podium finish, and you can end up on this world circuit somehow. So it is possible, and I do like that relationship that Coolum and the Festival of Froth have, and maybe we need to look at having a few different competitions that link up with that. So, because otherwise, if you're just doing the two, if you go to both, you're qualifying. So, I mean, a lot of people do that, and it'll be interesting to see who goes to Hawaii.
Yeah, it's one of those things where body surfing is just about having fun, and we're trying to have some sort of professional nature. But I mean, if you don't have an end game, then really what's the point? At the moment, I would say sort of the pipeline comp was historically the end game, where it was like, well, if you compete at the pipeline comp, that's it. You're done, you're dusted. Whoever wins that, it's cool. And no one really cares who wins. It's just a bit of fun. I think people are sort of trying to lead to the end game of being the Olympics. I would love to see us being an Olympic sport. It would be wonderful. But until we sort of get the proper qualifying process down pat, and sort of some sort of traction in regards to the sport, you're just going to have amateurs turning up. And really, body surfing is an amateur sport. It's not a professional sport. There's not enough money in the sport for it to become a professional sport at the moment anyway, and probably not in the foreseeable future. It's a bit of fun. I would love to see sort of a bit more formality in regards to those competitions, but you've also got to make it accessible. When you're having large, long competitions over multiple days, it just excludes people, To have stipulations where it's like you have to surf Saturday, you have to surf Sunday, or you can't surf Saturday, you have to choose one. That's probably a bit prohibitive to people that are just kind of going for a bit of fun. And you've got really, really high quality body surfers in this country that don't really want to participate. Whether it's from their own pride or they just view that they don't really care too much, whatever else, you need to have those comps where it's like, oh, this is a bit of fun. Yes, it's done and dusted pretty quickly. I always think of the Newey comp, where I think that's probably the best run comp in Australia at the moment, where you turn up at 6 and you're gone by midday. It's run, it's done. There's a select group of people.
It's an invitational, isn't it?
And that's it. Maybe we can get to that with sort of 2 or 3 comps sort of similar like that, and I think you'll see a bit more traction.
Well, I mean, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Australian Body Surfing Classic, Wompoff, and that's a huge team comp, and I think in a way it does both. It's created its own little world where it's made up the rules, and those rules only apply on that one day. And those, competition points aren't anywhere else in the scene except for that one day. And the team is crowned supreme for that year, and it's a team event. And I mean, it's people sort of are a bit iffy sometimes about how judges score things and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it is a great contrast of, hey, this is a pretty well-run professional competition, but it's also just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what works very well for that. But also, it's a standalone event. It doesn't have to worry about any continuity with other competitions and things like that. And that's the thing. If we want to one day get this sport to the Olympics, we have to start thinking about how we formalize it and make it, very, very continuity, very straightforward with how all comps are run, so that you can get points and you can have a world tour or a national tour or whatever and all that sort of stuff. Or is it just like, hey, one day winner takes all?
Do you like the system how it is, Timmy? Do you like the point accumulation method? Do you like that sort of IBSA style of a competition?
I think for individual stuff, and if you are going to run a few comps throughout the year, it works really great. The question is that how we want body surfing to run? I think with only 2 competitions, it's a bit hard. I mean, if we had maybe two or 3 more comps a year, the point system might be better because if you just go to both events, like, you'll be on the top of the board. You might not be the best body surfer. I think if we want to find like a world number 1 or an Australian number 1, we need to maybe have a few more comps a year. But that's hard. There's so many technical issues that come with that, and there's so much administration that comes with that. So I'm not sure how other countries do it. Are there multiple comps run by the what's it called, the IBSA.
Yep.
in America?
I think you would see more of it on the West Coast in America. You probably got 4 or 5 comps. Now Super Biscuit, our international correspondent, would be able to correct me and probably tell you exactly what comps they are. That are the IBSA comps themselves. And then you've got your individual comps, your independent events that obviously don't lead towards point scoring and that kind of thing. But they've had a lot more history and a lot more years kind of developing those comps and how they work and how they run, the locations that they're at. I think a big thing for us is that stand-up surfing, that culture is so ingrained in Australia, and we haven't had the body surfing history where it's almost hard to like go, oh, we want to have a comp here and just go and run the comp, because like there would be people going, oh, no, like you've got to tick this box, you've got to talk to this council. Like it's almost restricted in a way where it's like the freedom and the flow of having an easy comp is taken away because you need to formalize everything. I think, again, with Newcastle, that's why it's so good. There's been an agreement with the stand-up surfers that it's like, all right, well, one Sunday within this month on this tide, we're going to run the comp. And everyone just agrees, and it's run at a really nice slabby wave, high stakes wave, and it just runs smoothly, I think back to Ricky a couple of years ago where he, where within like a couple of days of out from the comp, the council pulled the pin. It's like...
Or they double booked.
Yeah, double booked. Yeah. Gee whiz, double booking.
Lousy Democrats.
Yeah. And, he thankfully he was able to pick up another venue very quickly. But, it's stuff like that. It's just they're hurdles.
I see a way around this. Urban surf.
You've said that before, and I think that it really would highlight the better body surfers there because it takes wave selection out of it. You've got...
Which is interesting because no surf comp does that. Every surf comp is about wave selection, including professional stand-up surf comps.
Yep.
So to get a 10 out of 10 right, you need to pick the best wave and you need to beat your competitors onto that wave.
Yep.
Where this takes out all of that. It's going to be very interesting to see. It's a controlled experiment. You get the same wave. You don't have anyone trying to cut you off. You get there's a line of surfers and you go one by one. Judging it would be very difficult, but I would like to do a Budgie Boy Invitational.
Okay.
I think the way, the Flat Rock Invitational works, where we might select 10 of our favourite body surfers to come for a day at Urban Surf. There might be a buy-in, pretty, I don't know, $100 or something, and you compete against the 10 and we crown a winner at the end of it. And it's just a fun day. Again, it allows for us to have a competition, have that competition vibe, but also have a fun day out. Have a barbecue, do a podcast, crank some tunes. And again, we'll be in and out.
Yeah.
We can do it in half a day.
Yeah. And Timmy, I think that going back to what you said at the start of the show, when we were living in close proximity to each other, there was that continuity where we kept the ball rolling and we were able to go, all right, we want to do this, we'll make it happen. Sort of bang, 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 which was really, really fun. I think we've got a lot of great ideas at the moment, but it's hard just getting the ball rolling on things. So we've wanted to do this invitational for a while. With Urban Surf in Sydney starting up, you don't have to travel to Victoria to do it anymore. I think that it's a good idea, and I think that we could probably get some heads turning with it. I've always thought that it would be great to have sort of a brand battle, and where you get sort of your one surfer from Ecto, you get your one surfer from War, and you pin them up against each other. And that's the best way to do it, because there's no it's just strictly the quality of you as a surfer and the quality of the brand that you're using, Interesting.
Or do we just get the 10 best body surfers or 10 of our mates that we like to hang out with, and most of them have ties with brands, and they just represent in the same way a surfer would. The surfer, represents the brands they're sponsored by. And they if they win, it's a great platform to promote the brand they're sponsored by. So, I mean, if we were to get Corey, he would be representing, all the brands that he's sponsored by, but mainly War and Defin and things like that.
And Piping Hot, of course.
And Piping Hot. He's always in the threads. And I mean, if we got some people that ride Slide, if we get some people that ride Ecto, I think it would be really fun. Who would you pick? If you had to pick, 10 surfers, I think you would be having a go. I think some other budgie boys would put their hand up as well, so we might have to include some of them. Who would you want to include in the Budgie Boy Invitational at Urban Surf if we got this thing going?
Listen, I would probably just engage people like Ricky from War, like Chris from Ecto, and say, you guys have a spot. And then they pick their surfer.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's kind of like to use a racing analogy, there is what's it called? What's the race called, Timmy? Peter Volandis, he implemented
Everest.
it. Is it the Everest? Yeah, it's the Everest, where the slots are actually assigned to big companies, and they pay for a slot over a certain amount of years. I don't want to be money spinning or anything, Timmy, but I mean, if we were to say, all right, you've got a slot for this year, and then you can pick anyone you want. And for us on the day, it's sort of a surprise. I like that sort of element of it. There's also the element where it's like, we just get our mates to do it.
Well, yeah, or maybe we have a few slots for brands and then a few wild cards for people who maybe aren't affiliated with any body surfing companies and still are great body surfers.
Yeah.
I think, Caitlin just moved, but I would love her to be involved. And then we've got...
Get your number one ranked IBSA.
Well, that's it as well. Yeah, what's his name from down south as well? Dylan Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think he's really associated with any brands or anything. I think... they had some stuff with DMC for a while, but I think that's gone. So, you want to get your best body surfers in there. But yeah, most good body surfers are affiliated with a brand, so that will be fine, but maybe a few wildcard spots for some roughies, and that will make the day really fun.
Yeah, Tim, I think that we can make this happen.
We got Woofo on administration, so he can help us put this together. But yeah, I guess we've just been waiting for Urban Surf to open.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best place to do it. Then you're not relying on conditions so much for a beach break, and you turn up and it's 1 foot, and then it's just it's a dud of a day again, as we have for many years in regards to surf comps in Australia. But yeah, Timmy, I think that we need to get this ball rolling again. And, you know, we've had a couple of years of a bit downtime. Like we had COVID, you know, that probably slowed the ball down quite a lot. But, you know, we can pick back up now. And I think that the Stoke can reignite, you know?
Well, speaking of two big things that bring the Stoke is, I would say, is Womp Off. That's coming up soon. Are we putting a team together for this competition?
I think it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
I think it is going to be hard for us. We are all, I would say we're semi-retired. At least most of us. Big Gussie will put his hand up. Gareth will put his hand up, you know. And we had Pete join us last year, you know, from Val. And yeah, so like I think we could probably put a team together, but you know, in regards to the OGs, we're getting on a bit, you know.
Yeah. Or we have other priorities. I mean, I'll still be there. I'll still enjoy the day. But I had the most fun just surfing with Bondi. Bondi was a surprise guest. He came down last minute, and just having a swim with him because we found a little better break. Because the competition zone wasn't amazing.
It was
I remember rocking up going, is this the beach? Because it looked like, I'm not kidding, I know people joke a lot about Bodysurf comps being flat, but I honestly thought it was a lake. There was a little tiny shorey that was just breaking on the sand. And it was honestly maybe 20 centimeters.
It was really hard work.
And I was like, this can't be it. Because I hadn't checked out the beach the day earlier. I drove down in the dark, got to my accommodation, and then got up early and went to the spot. And I just saw this thing, and I was like, that can't be it. This is way too small. Luckily, a bit of swell came through as the day progressed, but oh my goodness, we were gonna. I don't know what would have happened. We probably would have had to cancel it.
Yeah, it was small. It was really small.
So yeah, it was great that we were able to go to Kiama last year. It's been, you know, at Maroubra for the last few years, and COVID sort of mucked things up here and there, and council have mucked things up. So I'm not sure where Ricky's going to take it. I'm sure we'll know soon. But yeah, I'm keen for just a trip. The other thing that brings the Stoke is Womp Camp at Seal Rocks, and I heard a rumour that all the cabins are booked out. I don't know how that's possible. There's a lot of cabins. So does that mean the Bodysurf community's getting around cabins and they've booked out this whole site, or are other people going to Seals Rocks for that weekend?
Well, we started the Womp Cab.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we had a bad cabin the first year and we've upgraded since.
Have you booked?
No.
No,
Well,
so
I was
you're
told...
not going.
And people are saying just camp. It's like, I can't go backwards, mate. Like, the first year we went, we had an $80 cabin, and this thing was pretty schmick, and we did the podcast, and it was a lot of fun. And then the next year, I upgraded to a $300 cabin, and that had, I mean, a bath, a jacuzzi, an industrial kitchen. I was cooking risotto every night. It was amazing. To go back to a swag or a tent...
Yeah.
As fun as it looks, I just can't do it. So
you're not that type of person.
No, and my partner Tess really loves coming, and she's even suggested.
Does she?
She suggested we go at a different time. We go maybe when it's warmer, but it's booked out in summer. Like you wouldn't be able to get a spot there during the Christmas holiday. There's other camping options around that area, and different cabins and accommodations and things like that. But it'd be sad to miss out. And maybe I just drive up for a day.
Well, here's the thing, Timmy. I'm double booked.
Oh yeah, you got a wedding or something?
No, I've got I only listen to one band.
Oh yes.
The Paper Kites, right? That's the only music I listen to. And they have their one and only Sydney show on the Saturday night of Womp Camp. So I'm actually going to go up a couple of days early. It might just be me. You know, I might go up Wednesday, Thursday.
There's normally a few up there a bit earlier. I know Rob's, and I think sometimes Kookman drop in a bit earlier.
Yeah. And I'm just going to probably put either the swag out or roll the 4-wheel drive mattress into the back of Eddie and yeah, just chill out for Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday morning, have a surf, and then
Drive
head
to
on
Sydney. Well, when you have the gig, is that in Sydney?
Yeah.
So you'd have to drive. Would you drive?
I'd probably drive home and
and
then we'd go straight down.
Where's the gig?
I think it's at the Enmore.
Oh, yeah, nice. I'm going to the Enmore next week to see Sam Campbell. I'm very excited about that. He's blowing up, by the way, if you're a fan of comedy.
Have they fixed the floor yet?
After our mate broke it. Yeah, I was... Genesis Owusu, by the way, who broke the floor of the Enmore Theatre, big merchandise sale. I was thinking we should buy a few shirts because that'd be cool to represent. Every time because I wear his brother's shirt sometimes, Citizen K, and he always, when I'm in a photo with the shirt, he always goes, spotted. He just posts spotted. Must be weird having your own merch. like walking around and being like, hey, that's me.
We've got our own merch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, if you want to buy a shirt, I got a shitload of shirts to get rid of.
I do actually want to buy a shirt.
Yeah, they're in the cupboard. I'll give you one on the way out. They're pretty good. Bondi bought one. I washed Bondi's for him. That's pretty good because they smell. They're good quality shirts, but whenever you buy a shirt new, they smell weird. I don't know, because these are good brands. They're not from like China or whatever. You know when you buy a package, you open up and it smells like China?
Yeah.
But these, I just thought I'd wash Bondi's for him, but I haven't washed yours, so you'll have to...
That's okay.
You'll have to wash it yourself. So, yeah, if you want to buy a shirt, let us know. They're really great designs. The person who did all the Coolum graphics and things like that did the graphics.
I've been thinking, Timmy, we really should monetize this show a lot more than we do.
Well, people are still subscribed to the
Patreon. Don't tell them.
And we haven't put anything up for a long time. We don't have any exclusive content to put up. And when we do, people are like,
Yeah, that's right. No, the exclusive content we need are stuff that we just keep talking about but never go and achieve. You know, it's getting Ecto on, it's getting DMC on. And one day that will happen. Hopefully it's 2024, you know. But there's merch, Timmy. You know, I've got the baby on board stickers.
Yep. I've got some Bodysurf podcast stickers that you can, when you buy a shirt, I'll give you a few stickers. So, but I'm waiting for like Festival of Froth and Womp Camp and Womp Off and all those sort of events to sell the shirts. So we only did a run of like 50 shirts. We got a few left, but I reckon they'll go quick. So if we do one event, I think we'll sell most of them. And I've got the little tap on so you can pay by credit card and all that sort of stuff set up. So we will sell these shirts soon. But yeah, we'll be surreal watching people wearing our merch going, hey, that's us.
Well, you know, Fringe Surf Co. over in the UK is the perfect outlet for our shirts. But you did the shipping calculations and you're like, it's going to cost me like $300 per shirt.
It's like when we did the raffle and we're like, we lost money because of the postage because people keep winning. They're in Canada, they're in the UK, and we had they're big packages. But yeah, shirts a lot smaller. We can a lot of people from overseas have reached out and said, hey, I want to make it worth your while. If you are going to post it out, I'll buy a few off you. So that's been really nice, and we can make arrangements. I'm happy to lose a bit of cash if it means you can get a few shirts. So if you do want me to post some out, I will. But yeah, hopefully over the next few events that are running this year, we'll have a little store set up and be selling these shirts because they are really nice shirts, and it'd be really cool to see people wearing our stuff. And I mean, if you've been supporting us from day one, I'm happy to even give you a free one. So
except for Hamish, he can pay.
Yeah, he might get a free one.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Timmy, I wanted to bring the mood just sort of a bit more somber for a couple of seconds. We haven't had a podcast for a while, and you know, there's a couple of things we should just catch people up on. I would like to just preface this by saying we had an incident last week at the Bondi Junction Westfield, and it was a pretty full on thing that happened, and you know, we're both from a mental health background, Timmy, and it's not light for me to say that someone that is diagnosed with something like that. It's sadly, you would think that it's only capable for a handful of people, but we both know that that's probably something that could happen a lot more in the community, but it doesn't because there's people and systems in place that look after people with schizophrenia, look after people with mental health issues, and sadly, last week I think it was 6 people were stabbed in the Westfield Bondi Junction store, and one of them was actually a Bodysurfer's wife and child. And we it just really hit me and my wife April quite hard that we were so closely connected to someone, not just within the community, but you can kind of, if it doesn't affect you directly, you can kind of just fob it off as if nothing's happened, But yeah, we were really affected by that, and Dan Flanagan, his wife has since passed away, and he's looking after his little bub. And we just wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to do a little shout out for him, just on the potty. He's been a listener in the past, and we've engaged over the internet and had a surf a couple of times. And it's we just we're thinking of him right now, and I just wanted to say that the community's behind you, mate, and if there's anything that we can do, and you know what, that's a really throwaway line, but it's honestly true. If there's anything the community can do, please just reach out, and if anyone knows Dan directly or is close with him, just get alongside him. And we just wanted to make mention of the fact that these communities that we have, body surfing communities, it draws together so many people of different walks of life. And these things are good for your mental health. They're good for friendship. And when one person in the community is hurting, the whole community hurts. Dan, we're just thinking of you at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know Dan at all. And when I found out what had happened and that, he was going so affected by the events of last Saturday. I saw a lot of articles pop up about him and his family, and it was really hard to think that someone within the body surfing community had been affected by this awful event, and I don't know what he's going through right now. It must be the most difficult thing anyone's ever had to experience, really. But yeah, it's been really, 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 really sad here in Sydney the last few days with a few things going on. And yeah, hopefully I've already seen the body surfing community get around, and I know the East Sydney boys have been putting out some stuff. They must have known him pretty well. But we put out a thing at work to be like, hey, if anyone is affected, let us know there's supports in place and things. And people were asking, like, did you know anyone? And I was kind of like, not really, but someone, in the body surfing community. And I didn't tell them like who it was or, that his wife had passed away and or been killed. And yeah, like it does affect you. And, you just always think like, if that was me, like, I don't know what I would do. Like, I don't know. And, his daughter's been in a really bad, critical state for a while, and I've heard that she's a bit more stable now and things. But yeah, it's just extremely sad, and Bondi is a place that we go a lot, and a lot of body surfers out there as well. So it did affect a lot of people. So yeah, hope everyone's doing all right. I mean, we really think of Dan during this time.
Yeah, and I mean, like Albert and Dan's daughter are very similar age. So, like I'm sitting at home with just this little baby, and you just, you can't put yourself in that person's situation. You don't know how you would feel or what you would do. I mean, we both worked in the eastern suburbs, Tim, in mental health. We know that there's a lot of there's a lot of need in that area, and there's a lot of need everywhere. But it's we're just thankful for the community support that's in that area, and we want to see more of it as well. Another thing that I just wanted to do a shout out to Trav Davies, who is also he's been diagnosed with cancer yet again, and we had Trav on the podcast in the real early days, and we spoke about the fact that he was recovering, and you know what, he's fighting it again, and he's had some good results, which is really good news. But also, Trav, we just wanted to say that we're thinking about you as well, and anyone who is up there in Goldie Slider territory, just get alongside him and his family, and we're here for you as well, mate. So I know that we've messaged back and forth a couple of times, and my office still stands. If there's anything that you need and anything that we can do, don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah, and Trav's been a huge supporter of us and the podcast, and so gracefully come on and been a guest many times, and opened up and shared his story, which was very, very powerful. And I mean, you could see when he was talking about it that how much it affected him, and he was so proud of the fact that he beat it, and it's just such a shame that it's come back. But I mean, he's a strong bloke, and he's gonna absolutely hopefully smash it again, and he's got such a great family around him, not only his wife and son, but then the boys, the Goldie Sliders. They're a great bunch of lads, and I'm sure they're supporting him up there as well.
Yeah, it just puts a lot of things in perspective, Timmy. You think of your own stresses in life and what you've got going on, and then you just have to take a step back and go, you know what? For me at the moment, life's pretty good.
Absolutely, yeah. Alrighty, well, what are we doing? Hey, we're doing all right for time. Is there anything else you wanted to add? I want to give a shout out to Bondy, Matthew Bond. Where are you, bro? I've been messaging him so much. I know he's just had a kid as well.
He's got a kid too.
But I was like, let's go for a swim, let's go for a body surf, let's go out for dinner, let's watch the footy. Sometimes I just write, hey, and he goes, nah, busy. He knows what I'm going to ask before I even do it. So Bondy, maybe we'll get him on the pod soon. He's been a good fill-in co-host every now and again. Hope you're doing all right, bro, and let's catch up soon.
Isn't it quicker for you guys to get to my joint than it is to Cronulla?
And yours is like an hour. No, it's probably still quicker for Cronulla. Yeah, Bondy and I...
You've been up once.
We came once. Yeah, Maroubra is the closest for me. Yeah, definitely. With all the tolls. Costs $28 to get to there, but you're in there in half an hour. Yeah. I need to get back in the water. I haven't been surfing much. So if anyone wants to go for a surf... I mean, when it starts to cool down here in Sydney, Australia, it seems to be the time we get back in the water. Swell starts to pick up a bit, so hopefully there's a bit of swell coming through.
Well, that's why we call it the summer series, Timmy. It's there's not actually much surfing doing it, so you'd think you'd be in the water more, but
well, you're swimming, you're cooling down, you're enjoying summer, but you're maybe not body surfing as much. As now you get the steamer out of storage, you get into some big swirl and you have a lot of fun.
I had a really good surf the last couple of weekends. Tim, it's been on the back burner for a while for me. I've had a persistent sinus and ear issue that I'm seeing the ENT on Tuesday about, which I'm really excited. Hopefully it's good news. I don't want any bad news. But yeah, it's been really quite annoying. So I've been out of the water for a few months. But I just went stuff it the last couple of weekends and went, I'm getting in the swell. And last back-to-back Saturdays, it's been sort of 4 or 5 foot, nice and clean. It's been really, really fun. And I'm looking forward to more of that. Timmy, you been getting in the water?
No, I've been doing a bit of swimming. I'll do laps. I'll just try and stay fit.
Have you got a pool here?
Yeah, we've got a pool and a spa and a sauna. So been getting in there. And haven't been getting in the beach as much, but I definitely will. I'm still getting used to living out here. So I need to, Maroubra is the closest beach, but I do like going to Avalon and things like that. I just don't know when it's on. So I need to maybe link up with a few people out that way who can sort of text me and be like, hey, it's pumping, let's go.
There's a good Instagram page at the moment. It's called Central Coast Surf Report. Oh, yeah. Because there's not many cams up that way. And in the same way, there's not many cameras unless you pay for them on the northern beaches. I wonder if there's an Instagram page where some guy just does a surf report every morning.
I used to like when we lived in the Shire, you'd go to Westfield's Miranda and Surf, Dive and Ski would do a surf report. So some casual retail employee would go and check out the surf and then come back and write, 3 foot, bit frothy. And it was quite informative. That's all we need is just someone in Avalon to go, hey, maybe take a quick photo and then write a bit of a report. There is a bloke on the ABC on the radio program Saturday mornings that does a really good surf report. I've actually tried to get in touch with him.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, we had a friend who was working like as a producer in the ABC who knew Gareth, and they were trying to get us in touch with them, but they're very hard to get in touch with. But they do the surf report every Saturday morning. I like listening to their report. It was funny. I was listening to it on the radio when I went to Festival of Froth last year, and like he was just like, "Don't even bother." It's like we're about to run a comp. So yeah, those surf reports are great, and there's a lot of AM radio shows that do really thorough fishing and surfing reports, which is great. So yeah, we need, in this day and age, technology is king. We should be getting on the Instagram and just getting updates. But you're right, like everyone's on the Magic Seaweed and all these apps and looking at cams, and no one seems to ever know what's going on. It'd be great if there was just one Instagram account or one website that just was doctrine, and we had it all.
I would like to also bring up, Timmy, on the room, mate. It's looking great. This is the first time I've actually been in the official Bodysurf podcast.
You came on
studio.
a good week, to be honest. I'd filled it with shit. It was super messy. It had all my gadgets and all my t-shirts and all. I actually got rid of heaps of clothes and things like that, and it was so messy for the last few months, and the misso every week was like, when are you going to clean the room? I'll wait for a weekend and I'll put on a podcast and I'll get it done, and I only did it last weekend. So it is looking nice in here. I mean, this might become a nursery soon, so
really?
we won't be able to podcast here.
Is that an exclusive, Timmy?
Yeah, we're cream pine. Nah, like, we're getting married.
Tess does like coming.
Jeez, we're getting married and all that sort of stuff soon. So we're thinking about starting a family, and we're in a lovely 2-bedroom apartment here, and this might have to become the baby's room, because selfishly it's been my spare room, it's been my office, it's been my podcast studio, it's been my wardrobe for the last year. It's a bit of a waste, really. Like, we could put a bed in here, it could be a spare room, it could be, a nursery.
I'm going to give you the hot tip. Nurseries are really overrated.
Yeah, my niece used to just sleep in a cupboard. She loved it. Like, they used to just put her in this little cupboard.
In you go.
Yeah, she loved it. The big space was too much for her, so she needed a little Harry Potter room. But yeah, I mean, what would you do with this place? You would just take down all the crap and put in a change table and a bed.
That's it. Yeah, that's literally all you do. So that's the thing. You don't need to pull all the cool stuff off the walls.
But you
just need the bassinet or the crib, and then if you really want the change table. But really, for the first sort of 4 or 5 months, the kid's in your room anyway. Yeah, that's true. So, you've got a bit of wiggle room. Everyone wants to get it started, the nesting process, right? Yeah. And we nested quite well. We built 2 brand new rooms. It looks really nice up there, but we're only really starting to utilize it now. And so you've got a little bit of wiggle room. And I think that you can probably incorporate some of this stuff into the nursery anyway.
Maybe.
You want to take the nudes off the wall, but that's about it.
We're a very liberal household. The baby will be very open to that stuff. The thing is, that is weird. I do have some nudes, and I have thought about that. Like, you don't want them. I don't know. I remember going to a mate's house and there was nudes, and I thought it was pretty cool. But
like nudes of him?
No, it was like artwork. So I've got a male nude in the kitchen. It's very abstract, It's a print. It's actually what it is. It's a plate print. So someone painted it onto like a plate, like a ceramic, and then pressed it onto leather. And it's quite a good print. But because it's a nude, I put it in the kitchen because I'm the naked chef. I'm a big Jamie Oliver fan. But then we've got some nudes of Tess in our bedroom, and it's like, your kid doesn't want to see a nude of their mum when they're hanging out. I mean,
Freud would have something to say about that.
I mean, they're getting on the milk, but you don't want to. You don't want to see that. So I don't know. I don't want to traumatize them with nudes of their mother. But what are you? Are you a Speedo guy? Like having a bath with your kid in the Speedos?
No, I'm a full nudie. I'm a full nudie.
Kids don't remember things, I guess.
People go like, I don't know. April was a bit weirded out by me at the start, but I was really just amazed by Albert's body
Yeah, right.
Like he's just like all these like little features, and even his little like these little pecker. You know, it's just like you look at him and you just go, wow, like they're just amazing. You know, and it like I love a Rudy Nudie bath. Like I'm right down with that. We started swimming yesterday.
Oh yeah, I saw.
And it was really really fun. And most of the dads were in the whole rashy and whatever else.
Well, that's the thing. When you get older and you start swimming with your dad, I've still got it burnt into my memory, just my dad's dick. Like, you're just having a shower. But, like, your kid's too young to remember that now. It's when they get older and they start getting embarrassed by all that sort of stuff, you might have to start covering yourself when you're having a shower in front of your kid.
How old is it, though? Like, what age?
When you start remembering? Or I think when you start feeling shame. So I think 3, 4, 5 is when you start feeling shame.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when you might want to cover up your big old dick.
I was talking to our good friend Dan Carr at Warm Camp Helpline, right, on the weekend, and he goes, my missus still walks around the house nude. His kid walks around the house nude. Like his kid, he goes, I don't know if I should say this. He goes, he's starting to sprout a little bit.
Oh,
yes, and he goes, like, the kid's old. The kid's almost in high school, I think. He might even be in high school.
He's got a full merkin on.
Yeah, and still walking around the house, Nate. Like, when do you get the hint, mate? Like, it's not on.
I think when your dad's going, oh, geez. That's when you might want to cover up your puby rubies.
But normally it's the other way around. Normally the kid's going, Dad, please stop.
My dad always had boxes with holes in them and his scrot was just hanging out 24/7 on the couch. Yeah, I was always so embarrassed by that sort of stuff. But it's funny when it's the other way around. Yeah.
Now you understand.
Yeah. I think I would always cover up in front of my kid.
Are you a family of big nutties?
No. Oh, I've got small ones.
My family's got big nutties. Like even Birdie's just like even at the hospital.
Well,
look at those.
Babies have young babies have big balls, and I think something happens to them when they will become sort of normal size. But when they're newly born, they do have like abnormally big balls. But yeah, no, I'm a small ball kid, which I used to think was weird, but it's quite convenient now. You know, I'm not hanging around everywhere. I'm ready to go.
You can wear silk boxes and you'll be completely fine.
I'm never getting snagged. Yeah, and even when the weather's a lot cooler, they disappear. And I don't know if that's like an evolutionary thing. Like if you're out in the cold and you're hunting and you don't want big balls hanging around,
they just go.
Yeah, they just go right inside of me. So that's convenient. Yeah,
Jesse Mawson does not have this problem.
I've had some mates with some big scrots, and I've always thought, like, how do you put your pants on? Like, how do you put jeans on? How do you like wear shorts with them out, not hanging out? And I guess you can get special underwear and things like that.
April always said, like, it's just very vulnerable out there, isn't it?
Well, that's it. Yeah, especially in the days where we weren't wearing clothes and we were in nature. Like, you're very much going to get injured or get snagged on a branch or something like that. So I thought I was always a bit different, but I'm like, maybe this is for the best. But I mean, budgies suck it all in. Keels suck it all in. I mean, if you're wearing keels, you've got no ball sack. It's just all in.
Well, you don't want people like in the water polo pool. You know, you don't want people grabbing and tugging at those things.
That's what they're designed for.
Timmy, you telling any jokes like this lately, or have you cleaned your act up?
Oh man, I remember when I did that Sydney Comedy Festival show. I kind of ended by saying, you know, this is the longest set I've ever done, and I've never. When you put all your material together, you work out how filthy it is. But I don't think I'm like a dirty comedian, but like I've got some dirty jokes. I just did raw comedy for the third and final time. It's a big comedy competition. I got through to the state final, but I didn't make it any further. But I always, because I was like, this could potentially, this set could go on TV and all that sort of stuff. I tried to clean it up. And what I found out is like by cleaning up the set, it's like, okay, I don't swear a lot, but the premises are like a bit gross. So I might be talking about like rude subject matter, but I'm not going F this, C that, whatever. So I had a really clean act, but I'm talking about, you know, cum and disgusting things like that, but I don't say the words. And I was like, I wonder if that's going to help. Like if you've got to censor yourself and get on TV and all that sort of stuff, can you still talk about gross things as long as you're not swearing? But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to write new stuff, but yeah, I just wrote out like in long form all my material to see how much I've got, and most of it's pretty filth.
Are the body surfing jokes floating or sinking, Tim?
I don't do body surfing jokes. Other people seem to do body surfing jokes.
Finn's body surfing joke's good.
Well, and we've played it here on the show, the first time someone did a body surfing joke was Alan Fang, who's actually become quite a big name in the comedy scene. He and I were at an open mic, and I had this joke about body shaming, and he goes, "What if you did a joke about body surfing?" I was like, "Okay, sure." Anyways, he gets up at this open mic and does the joke about body surfing, and the joke's awful. But it's the first time I've heard like a body surf joke at an actual comedy night, and it was pretty interesting. But then, Finn opened for our live Bodysurf podcast live show, whatever it was, and did a few jokes, and I wrote a few for him, and he hated them, but it was fun. What was it? It was like the Finn, they walk like...
Yeah, that's good. That is a good joke.
It was great if you're familiar with The Simpsons. It's funny how many Simpsons episodes...
The Finns are hard to walk in.
It's funny how many Simpsons episodes sort of parody stand-up.
Yeah.
Homer's always watching with the Mr. E.T. Remember that? I love the comedian does this. I've started doing that. And then what else is there? There's the black guys drive their cars like this. There's a few. And it's interesting because I think in that era, Seinfeld was starting to get big, not because of his TV show. Just before he got the TV show, he was kind of known as this club comedian doing very... what would you call it? Very observational comedy that was a bit sticky. It was a bit, not hacky, but it just had this sort of cadence to it. And Saturday Night Live started to spoof it. Simpsons started to spoof it. And I mean, it's a really big joke now. You know, what's the deal? Yeah. Everyone's doing it. But
McBain, let's get silly.
That's the joke. So, The Simpsons got really good at, sort of doing a parody of this, like, observational stand-up. And now it's such a cliche to be like, what's the deal with this? But, like, Simpsons and Saturday Night Live did some really cool stuff before it was kind of known that Seinfeld was out there doing this style of comedy. But I love all that stuff. What's the deal? Do you get much comedy up where you're at?
Oh, gosh, no. Oh, actually, you know what? Tukli RSL, the RE, does comedy weekly, I think.
Bullcrap.
Yeah, they do.
Who books that?
They've got a pretty good lineup. They get good guests.
Who have they had?
No one of note. But anytime I see it, I go, oh, okay, yep, surprise. Like it's sort of your 90s B-listers.
Right.
You know, like guys that were probably filling in for someone who didn't come in for the footy show.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those sort of guys that are still like Arj.
Oh, yeah.
Not what's his name? Not Arj.
Yeah, Arj Barker.
No, not Arj Barker. Taj. Is it Taj?
Got a photo.
Not Taj Barker.
Photo of
Arj Barker hasn't come. Oh, he might have been.
Taj.
No. What's his name? Akmal. That's it.
Mate, Akmal was a big deal and still a great comedian. But you know, Akmal had, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, if it's like defamatory or whatever, but I think it's common knowledge. Akmal was signed to do the Drive show on Nova nationally. It was like $1 million contract, huge, and his co-host was going to be Matthew Newton, who was also a really big star at the time because they would do Thank God You're Here. Matthew Newton was a really good actor, but also very good at the Thank God You're Here improv game. So Nova was like, let's sign these two. They were filling in or whatever. And then obviously they had to pull out of that deal. But like, I think Akmal would have been huge if that deal went through. It was already $1 million contract, so they were investing in that show. But yeah, Akmal, a great comedian. Let's get him on the podcast. He's a Central Coast boy.
Well, that's probably why he's always there.
Yeah, he used to live in Cronulla and he bought a place at the Central Coast. I'm not sure how that works with his like tour schedule and stuff, but yeah, he must just maybe do a few gigs out that way and before he goes on the road. Great comedian, Akmal. Akmal Sali. Good guy.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Let's go to Tukli RSL and...
Oh, mate, I would... It's actually really good and the feed is great.
I liked that place we went to watch the footy once. It was your local leagues club or your local...
Wyong Leagues, or did we go to the Beachy?
No, it would have been... Oh, we walked there from your place.
Oh, yeah, that's the Wally Bay Rec Club.
Right. Yeah, okay. And we had the tab to ourselves.
Yeah.
And great service. Is it just because it's sort of a bit more off the beaten track that there's more hospitality there?
No, it's a pretty decent club. Like, it's pretty well liked in the community.
Yeah, you go and grab a drink, and like I'm used to Sydney where they like spit in your face and all that sort of stuff, and it takes an hour to get a beer. And
oh gosh, no.
They were so lovely and polite, and we were using your membership card, and they were like, yeah, no wuckers. And then the food was great, and then we had the tab to ourselves. They're like, do you want us to turn it up? You wouldn't, like in Sydney, you'd be like, hey, do you mind changing the channel? They'd roll their eyes. It's a nice life out there, mate.
It is, yeah. We have a lot of fun up in the Central Coast, but it's the thing we're really lacking up there is any form of like you just want to. Sometimes you just want to go down the pub.
Yeah.
You just want to hop around to a couple of bars. There's not really a good restaurant or bar culture up there. It's probably because everyone's so spread out, and it's a bit of a retirement village. Well, it has been in the past, but one or two more bars might be nice, so you can kind of roll your night on a little bit more. You want to go out and get a nice cocktail, and there's probably just not those styles of places. And if you go out for an early dinner, you get one or two drinks. Here in Sydney, you could do 2 or 3 rooms before 1 a.m.
Yeah.
There's nothing of that up on the coast.
But do you need it? Because when we went to the club, everyone was there. It was packed. And maybe they just camp in for the night, get your spot, you get dinner, get a few drinks, and then get the courtesy bus.
The courtesy bus is good.
That's what you need.
Yeah, I don't need it. I'm a short walk away.
You just walked home. That was great. Anywho, we got to get out of here. Do it all again real soon. I'm not sure what the plan is for the podcast for the rest of the year.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this was a bit of a tester, Timmy, to see how easily we could do it. You're a busy man.
Yeah. Not really.
Not now?
I watch every round of football. I can't be that busy if I'm watching every round.
Did you have was that pepperoni?
Oh, yeah. Night? I'm so addicted to Domino's.
Do you get barbecue base?
No.
Come on, mate.
I love Tommy.
Oh, barbecue base pepperoni. That's where it's at.
It's like ultra pepperoni. They put a bit of extra on for you. And
it's like $7, isn't it?
I go thin. It's like a cracker. It's like a pizza cracker. It's delicious. Yeah, it's so cheap. I always go and pick it up because it's like $20 delivery, $5 to pick it up. So it's just up the road. And also, it was raining heavily last night. I feel so bad for the boys on those little electric delivery bikes in the rain. I'll go grab it. It's pretty easy to get. But yeah, that's like my new ritual. Every Saturday or every weekend, I'll get a Domino's pizza and watch the footy.
It is good when you're in that phase of life, and I really lament that. I don't lament it. It was a good time when I lived with Sean Cookie.
Oh yes.
We would often just grab a pizza on a Saturday night, and you walk on down, you come back, you might watch some footy, you might watch a movie. Like, it's just a good time of life.
It's the best.
You don't have to worry about
not a care in the world.
Not a kid crying in the next room. You're just sweet.
I would worry when I have a kid that I'll rely too much on food like that. Because I'll be like, I can't be bothered cooking. I definitely can't be bothered cooking something healthy. So let's just grab a pizza. So I got to not rely on that so heavily. Yeah,
that is true. Well, in regards to the podcast, Tim, it's we are only a short distance away now, so we just book some guests, we get them in here, and then we can get cracking.
Well, I really wanted Caitlin on the podcast, and she messaged me and she's like, hey, I'm moving. I'm not sure where she's moving to. I think she's in the UK at the moment. I'm not sure where she's going to set up base, but she's super keen to still be involved, and she said, she'll call in and all that sort of stuff. I was trying to get her on the podcast before she left Newcastle, but couldn't do it. Want to get Dylan Kelly on soon, obviously, and we're arranging that. There was someone else. Oh, Rowan is Churchill. Want to get him on soon. So we've been in talks with a few guests. But yeah, we'll have all the regulars on as well. But yeah, maybe we do a live podcast from Festival of Froth. Maybe we do a live podcast from Wompoff. It seems like we're not going to Womp Camp, which is where we normally do the big podcast. So we might have to do a few other makeshift ones at these comps throughout the year.
That's it, Timmy.
All right, we got to get out of here. Do it all again real soon. But remember,
it's always overhead when you're body surfing.
Bye, footy.